Let's see what questions there are. Yes.
The thought keeps coming to me this morning on relativity. There's been an awful lot since Einstein's day, in the book I think was written in 1917 about relativity.
Yes.
And the point that I'm going to ask you, is there any such thing as relativity, or is that a part of the human dream and the human fantasy?
How is this related with the topic that we are discussing today?
Well, it has to do with time and timelessness.
Yes, and how is that related?
The absolute and the relative. Is there only just the absolute of God and anything that's in the relative world and of time and space is all in the sea of mental garbage and human ideas, even including what we call the relative world and the relative aspects of the world. And is that all just part of that human fantasy and the human dream?
I see what you mean. Yes, human existence, the physical universe, the way we see things. Time is a human invention.
Night and day, is that a human invention too?
Night and day, sun and moon.
Everything in the human realm is the result of judging by appearances. And when we judge by appearances, we wind up with a misinterpretation of reality. Now, there are two kinds of truths. There is relative truth and absolute truth. Relative truth is a valid statement over whatever is under consideration. For instance, if we say this is a black book, that's true, right? It's a relative truth.
I thought so this morning. I was wondering if you still.
And so now, when it comes to being born again, we are dealing with the realization of absolute truth, absolute reality, and relativity is no part of absolute reality. There's nothing relative in divine reality. It is eternal and absolutely perfect, absolutely beautiful, absolutely good, absolutely intelligent, and absolutely loving. And the closer we come to this realization, the more enlightened we become. So we expand from our consciousness from the relative to the absolute, from the finite to the infinite, from the time-bound to the timeless, from the narrow to the infinitely broad. As Jan has so beautifully shown to you the process whereby we seek to attain the condition of being born again, expanding the borders of our tent, expanding our mental horizons. The broader our perspective on life and on reality, the more enlightened we become. And this can happen gradually, imperceptibly, through the study, meditation, prayer, etc., to this process. Or, in rare occasions, it can occur suddenly, quite unexpectedly. It has been described. And of course, the Japanese Zen masters speak of it as satori, and the mystics speak of it as rapture mystical rapture, which overtakes them. You see, like Jacob Böhme, the medieval cobbler, who suddenly overnight had a tremendous realization of the eternal, the infinite, and it has transformed his life dramatically. From an uneducated man, he suddenly began to speak many languages and understood everything, knew everything, and even wrote several books.
Who was that?
Jacob Böhme.
Oh, Burma, yes.
Is it that the book is in thinking about the absolute and the relative, when our attention is on the absolute, the book is still black. It's just we're not interested. We're not interested with it. We're not involved with it.
Yes,
Our attention is on it.
well, it is not really black, you know. We judge it by by the appearance. You see, our sensory impression is that it is black, right? Now, what is a spiritual color of this book? It's beautiful. That's all. It's useful. It's beautiful. It's good. And it's very intelligent if you would read what's in it.
I'd like some comment on the religious experience, or what the Orthodox world calls the born-again experience. I remember a time in a Baptist church when the preacher was preaching hellfire and brimstone, and he scared the hell out of me. And I went down to an altar. This has been years ago, and I went down to an altar, and something happened. A tremendous experience happened to me, and it was kind of a life-changing thing that happened to me at that time. It was a real experience. I walked on air, it seemed like, for a few weeks after that. And this basically is what today out here in the religious world is known as a born-again experience.
Yes.
And then later on, I went to different churches and had other experiences. They preached a certain experience that you'd have, and so I went in and heard their message, and I experienced the experience that they were talking about. Now, where does this fit in? Is this was this all a part of the illusion? They was preaching what they believed to be the gospel of Jesus Christ, which later on I can see. I call it relative. They had some relative truths. It seemed like those relative truths done me a relative amount of good. But I feel
What makes you think that? By what standards?
this is what we did because I thought it.
Yes.
Say what
Yes.
makes you think it done
Yeah.
me good. Maybe it's because that I thought it done me good.
Yes. Well, we can fool
Is
ourselves.
this real?
Yes.
Or is it all a part of the illusion? Is the religious world like Galvey said, riding to hell on horseback while they were talking about and preaching the born again experience? Is this all illusion, and is there no true value in it?
Well, we make a distinction between religious experience and emotional experience. But I don't want to go into that now because I know that Dr. Hora speaks to that this afternoon in detail in his lecture. These things are very clearly defined, so let's leave that for later.
I would like to say a few words.
Yes.
Metapsychiatry makes a contribution to this problem because we distinguish between experiences and realizations. Tim, are you here, Tim? Can you explain it? You wrote about it, a nice article. Yeah.
Speak up, Tim, a bit louder.
Get up and speak. We distinguish to distinguish between experiencing and realizing something.
Yes. Well, experiencing has to do with our senses. It's what we can see visually with the eyes, sense with our taste, touch, sound, that sort of thing. And yet, as far as realization it takes place in another modality of awareness.
Right.
Very
We call
good.
it discernment of spiritual
Right.
or consciousness.
Right.
And there's more to say.
Thank you very much, Tim. So whenever someone speaks of religious
Thank you.
experiences or sexual experiences or gustatory experiences or whatever, we understand this is an organismic response to a certain sensory stimulus, either sensory or emotional or even intellectual. You may leave here today with an intellectual experience, and it will do you no good, except perhaps get you to study more. But eventually, we all have to attain a point of realization. Now, is there someone who can explain what realization is?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Yes, that's the perfect definition. It is of a different order. As Tim said, it's a different order of awareness. And we define it this way. Whenever reality becomes real to us, we have a realization.
Speak up.
It boggles the mind. It bypasses the mind. That's the strange thing about it. When reality becomes real to us, we have attained to a realization. And it is not something that we can do. It's something that happens to us by the grace of God. So all the various literature which describes the many varieties of religious experience, and we have a very famous book by William James about varieties of religious experience. They do not differentiate the semantic subtlety between experiencing and realizing. And I think it's very helpful to know.
Yes.
William James wrote a story about one thing.
Yes.
I don't remember. I'm going to reread it. It was many years ago.
Yes.
I just brought it to mind.
Will you tell us about it?
I will.
Okay. Yeah. The real thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Has it clarified to you what that means? Realization?
She doesn't remember. You still don't understand it? No.
Can you ask a question about it?
No.
No, I mean, you said you didn't understand what realization was.
Yes, that's true. I do not understand.
Well, realization is mysterious because it bypasses the human mind, so-called. Yes, it's a higher level of awareness. Last year we spoke about 7 ways of seeing. Have you read that? Heard that lecture? I think there's a tape on it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you listen to that carefully, you will understand what realization is.
You have a question, Rick?
I have the same confusion about realization and experience and perception.
And when you were talking about William James, I thought what he does talk about is how you don't judge by fruits, but by roots of a person's religious experience, but by its fruits. And I'm wondering whether or not realization is something that we know we have if the fruits are there, sort of an effortless love, joy, those sort of things.
Yes.
Is that
Your question is, how do we know that we have realized something, right? Yes, well, we have a very wonderful criterion of that in metapsychiatry. PAGL, that's right. PAGL is our criterion of realization.
So
You know what it is?
no, that,
Yeah, everybody.
yeah, could you explain that, Rick? Because some people have never heard of PAGL.
Yeah. Would you say that's an experience?
I don't know. You see, there's been times in my life when I thought I was willing those characters, as a fundamentalist, I thought I was willing those characters. I was going to be peaceful. I was going to be.
You will make yourself that way. Yes. No, it cannot be done. It's not an experience. It's a realization.
There does seem, at least to me, to be, at the times that I have known PAGL, to be a direct relationship, a direct effect then upon the experiences that I have in those times.
Well, very often we speak about experiences which were not really experiences, but realization, and vice versa. These two concepts get confused. For instance, we say, very often we say, I see. Now, when you say I see, you are you may be talking about visual perception, right? But I see also means something spiritual. I understand, I'm aware, it's clear, right? So the language is imprecise unless we take the trouble of making sure that we are using the right terms for the right states of consciousness.
Hey, Danny, you want to ask something?
It just, while we were sitting there talking, it just struck me as kind of funny that, it struck me as kind of funny that realization that man is trying to realize what he really is. It's like a tree trying to realize it's a tree.
Yes.
And I guess the realization is an awareness and consciousness,
Yes.
isn't it, of what we really are, what reality is, what's true and real, whereas an experience is something that takes place in the physical sensory world.
And how does a tree realize that it's a tree?
I don't think it has to realize that.
Right. You see,
That's what it seems
We
like.
think we have to realize it.
we have to.
Yes.
You see, that's the difference. Yes.
Maureen?
The mind can understand realization? No. The mind doesn't understand anything.
Isn't it inspired idea?
Yeah. Right.
I'll go on. You look puzzled. Yeah? Is that?
You're not to blame for that.
Inspired ideas.
Some inspired, some
Right.
and sometimes it seems you can understand the difference. You can recognize that something is an inspired idea. You can recognize that some ideas are conceived as thought. That's when an inspired idea that's effective.
Yes.
Yes.
You have to differentiate between what is popularly spoken of as mind and what we speak of as consciousness. What's the difference between consciousness and mind? Betty, you seem to know that?
Mind is our own, like fantasy, and consciousness is God or the whole total awareness.
Yes. Mind is the content. If the content of consciousness is from the sea of mental garbage, then we speak of mind, human mind. It's all garbage. But if the content of our consciousness is spiritual ideas, spiritual values, spiritual qualities, then we speak of spiritual consciousness or a spiritualized consciousness. Metapsychiatric prayer, meditation, and study aims at continuously increasing spiritualization of consciousness. Inspired ideas are present in a spiritualized consciousness, and consciousness is aware of itself. And so, when we speak about the human mind, we speak about the content of consciousness derived from the sea of mental garbage. When we speak about a spiritualized consciousness, then we imply that it is filled with inspired ideas from the divine mind. The divine mind is also spoken of as cosmic consciousness. So a spiritualized consciousness is to a high degree in conscious awareness with, of the divine mind. The divine mind is the source of all right ideas. These right ideas constitute our true being. God's thoughts constitute our true being. In metapsychiatry, we are learning to be aware of the difference between a spiritualized state of consciousness and ordinary human thinking. We'll speak about it more in the afternoon.
Tim?
The thought just came to mind that as far as the personal mind could be.
Could you speak up a little louder?
That personal mind could be equated to the comings and goings of the world, the changing
Right.
thoughts that we have and whatever we see, and that's sort of the divine mind or the consciousness would be the background.
Yeah. The devil is introducing himself in Job, I think it is, and says, I am the one who is going to and fro and up and down in the world.
On the face of the earth.
Yes.
Yes, Phyllis.
Our mathematical equation was helpful to me in Hawaii, where we said that the human mind will say that 2 and 2 is either 5 or 6 or 99.
He has a choice. The human mind has free will and a free choice. Yeah.
Only consciousness of truth knows that 2 and 2 is 4.
Right.
What did you say? You know, the human mind has choice.
Choice. Yeah. You can choose between 2 and 2 is 5 or 2 and 2 is 6.
Oh, the whole
Beg your pardon?
the whole concept of free will belongs.
Right. Exactly. Right. Okay.
Janice.
Realization that comes from the grace of God only comes to those who are consciously interested in such a
Right, exactly. And that's the secret in being born again. You have to be interested.
Jess.
Nobody talking up.
Oh, we are sorry. We are sorry. Truly sorry. We'll speak louder,
Yeah.
right?
Jess, speak up.
My question really deals with the introduction that you spoke about. Everything that's being said is interesting and enlightening, but for some reason I suspect that we're not really supposed to be talking about that until either in the afternoon or tomorrow. I'm having trouble focusing on understanding what we are supposed to be talking about. The womb of spiritual rebirth, metapsychiatry, being the womb of spiritual rebirth.
Yes.
For some reason, I still don't understand the point that you were trying to make. And that's my question. What was the point, in a nutshell, of what you were trying to make?
In what way is metapsychiatry?
Metapsychiatry is the womb of spiritual rebirth.
Yes.
What point were you trying to convey there?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. The main point of this lecture was really in that idea of redefinition. And did you do you remember that we spoke about that? Yes.
Divine.
Right. So we said that what metapsychiatry does is redefine every aspect of human existence. For instance, it takes a job, work. We talked about that. In the human existence, it is sometimes drudgery, hard work to the human mind. In metapsychiatry, we ask ourselves now, what is work spiritually? What does metapsychiatry say about that? Is there anybody here that remembers? Had something to do with it, but the precise definition of work is right usefulness. Right. Where are you going? Now you see that right usefulness is a much broader concept. So if we have trouble with work and with our job and find it a drudgery, we may ask ourselves, what is right usefulness? And preoccupy ourselves with realizing a right usefulness. And so metapsychiatry helps us to get out of our narrow definition. See, when we have a problem, you can be sure that we are working in a too narrow context. We are seeing ourselves or our body or our marriage in a too narrow context. And metapsychiatry has a spiritual equivalent, a spiritual counterpart for every of these aspects of human existence. And so we can outgrow them if we learn to see that marriage is a joint participation in the ocean of love intelligence. We move from a confining relationship to the wide horizon of the ocean of love intelligence. And so we move from human existence to divine spiritual existence. That was the main point.
Could I?
Yes.
I just like to add a little to that in the sense that sometimes people study metapsychiatry and then after a while they say, okay, now, why am I not enlightened or whatever? And it reminded me of a lady who came recently who's been attended a number of courses on metapsychiatry, and she comes in with the problem, which is her life is in a terrible pickle, terrible mess. And she's telling about all the terrible things that are going on in her life. And so then something was said to her about that she's not here for herself, she's here for God. And she said, oh, yeah, I've heard that idea before. Yes, I remember that, yes. Now, but my problem is, so forth. And it seemed to me that what Jan was pointing out is that metapsychiatry is the womb of rebirth when we precisely take human existence and are willing to subject the details of our human existence to the light of the truth as we learn it in metapsychiatry. Otherwise, the two just sit there. And these are all very nice ideas, but they're abstract, and they really don't have anything to do with the nitty-gritty. Well, they do if we are willing to bring.
Yes. Well, a womb is for 9 months the nourishing environment of a newborn. Now, metapsychiatry is that for 9 years.
Or 90 years. 9 years. 9 years.
In other words, the ideas of metapsychiatry is the nourishing environment. Now, what does that mean? That means that the ideas are there. There are books on the table in the back, and there are tapes. Now, if you see what people do with it, you see there are volumes that Tim has put together. Here are people that have taken these ideas and they are working with it, and they are studying them. And Claudette has taken the tapes and is transcribing them. Over the years, I've never seen so much transformation. And when somebody takes 20 tapes of Dr. Hora and transcribes them, after a while you think ideas of metapsychiatry, you sleep with them, you eat them, you drink them. Your head gets full with spiritual, valid ideas. So you are nourishing it. And these ideas, since they are existentially valid ideas, they prove to have a power that is transforming. So that is meant with the move. Yeah, John.
There's work that we do. Seems like there's work that we do with continuous prayer and study and the encounter, which is on the level of the relative, on a level of understanding invalid ideas in our personal mind and transforming that. Can you talk about what the role of meditation is? Because that seems like that's different than
Yes.
the encounter or the study.
No, it's not different. It's just one way in which the ideas of metapsychiatry are studied. We can write them down, we can contemplate them, we can meditate upon them. In meditation, we go beyond just studying the letter of a text. You see, at that point, the ideas of metapsychiatry become like windows. We start studying an idea, say that man is a manifestation of love intelligence. And in meditation, that idea may open up into a realization. That is what meditation does. It is just another approach. There are so many approaches in which we can study, and meditation and contemplation and the prayer of beholding. Right now in metapsychiatry, actually in the last 2 or 3 years, it seems that Dr. Hora is inspired with one form of meditation after another. We have had a whole series lately, as you have seen in the last newsletter. And if you are not familiar with the newsletter, there are some out there on the table. We have an article on the prayer of glowing. There are several forms of meditation are described. Marjorie?
Then realization isn't something that comes into my experience.
but it's something that comes into consciousness
Right.
Awareness.
In awareness.
and awareness.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Ma'am.
It says eating, sleeping, drinking, take. That's what happened to me on Jan's book. And I'm having, like, very simply yesterday, a knockdown, drag out when you're having one. And I'm thinking, what's thinking and going through me, not, I don't know where it's going, but I'm hearing all the things I'm reading, I'm hearing all the things that are doing in the spiritual dimension. And it's like I'm sitting back watching myself go on with this behavior. And I know somewhere something is saying that's not working, not going to work. But I don't have the same sense of judgment on myself I used to have when I decided another therapist, we get it all out of that sort of thing.
Yes.
And what is that dynamic there that it's soft or it's gentle, it's more of a drawing as a demand or something? I'm excited about all that. I told my girlfriend it's like an elephant. I got a hold of it and I only have 2 hairs.
An elephant. That's a new one.
Very good word.
Yes. Well, that is exactly the good work that we need to do when you are right on track of making meta-psychiatry, finding there a room of spiritual nourishment. Now, when you get good food, that attracts you to more. And what everybody is discovering, who discovers these ideas, how attractive they are. I remember just yesterday there was a man coming into the office that I'd never seen. And he said he had found the book Dialogues, I think it was, of meta-psychiatry. And he had been brought up as a Catholic, and then he went to various other churches and looking around. And then by accident, he was jogging on one of the college campuses here, and there was a door open. And somebody was lecturing, and it was one of our students here, was lecturing on spiritual values. And he dropped in there, and he said, he asked it, he listened for a few minutes, and he said, "This is it." And he went to the register, he said, "Can I still register?" And he could, he went home quickly to change his jogging clothes, he came back. And that was he said, "This is it." That is a kind of a realization, an aha. And that is what you are also describing. When there is an attraction in valid ideas. Yes, Joe.
Dr. Hora, you mentioned in a tape once that you would recommend meditating in the morning and in the evening and in between if you have time.
Yeah.
May I ask you personally, when you meditate, do you have a place where you go twice a day, if it's possible, local in your residence, where it's the place where you do meditate, or do you meditate as you move about?
Ceaselessly.
Yes, but you said morning and night. You made a time definition. What sets that apart?
Well, at night we have to clean out our consciousness for the pollutions of the day. And in the morning, we clean out our consciousness from the pollutions of the night.
Talk about that. How do you dump? How's that dumping happen?
By turning our attention to spiritual reality, spiritual values, and as that lady described, you become aware of what is valid and what is not valid, and you're separating yourself from it. And Anne explained it, that the garbage in thought is not our garbage. It's just garbage. It's not a personal possession. So just like your living room, if there is dust in your living room, it's not your dust, it's just dust.
Wonderful.
Right? You clean it up.
Yes.
Right? But if you become possessive of your dust, you may accumulate a lot of it. Right?
Yes, Sue.
It's like when I've become aware of during meditation,
Wow.
Love it.
seem to kind of float up or
You float up?
well, it's like out of the field of garbage.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
it's just a real opening of my eyes and
Yeah. Yeah.
spirit.
Uh-huh.
And it's like the death. I let go of the death.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's what levitation is in metapsychiatry.
That's what real levitation is. We rise above the fantasies and the pollutions of the daily impressions.
Yes, John.
Is becoming frustrated by the flow of ideas from the sea of mental garbage the same as being possessive of that?
Yes. What we cherish, what we hate, and what we fear, we are involved with.
We just invite more.
Yes.
That it came to mind when the image of simply rising above the sea of mental garbage was mentioned. That's very different from trying to manage the sea of mental garbage. And I think that's a mistake that we sometimes make. We have to manage these thoughts and manage this garbage and do something
or
with it.
try to get rid of it.
Try to get rid of
The
it.
more you try to get rid of it, the more you are involved with it. We just cannot get rid of it, right?
Right.
Annie?
If we are differentiating love intelligence, which is perfection,
Yes, yes.
I use that word with caution.
He's from San
But if it's
Francisco.
perfection, why then have we been so imperfect, and are we surrounded by a sea of mental garbage from your that?
You cannot ask that question.
What is the meaning of the fact that that's invalid? An invalid question. I mean, why can't?
Are you asking what is the meaning of the imperfection that we seem to be involved with? Yes? Right. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
We're waiting for the spirit to answer that.
Beg pardon, Jess?
I just say we're waiting for spirit to answer that.
For Spirit to answer that? Well, the Spirit doesn't let us wait. What are you going to ask?
I was just going to say it comes from judging by appearances.
Right.
Could you explain it to her satisfaction? Could you stand up, Betty?
Stand up, Betty.
And
Yeah.
explain it.
Well, we really aren't in an area of imperfection. It just looked like it to us because we're seeing with our eyes and we're judging like a human. We're seeing it from a human point of view. It just looks like we have a sea of mental garbage. We really are perfect, and we really, really always were born perfect. So if we stop seeing with our eyes and judge with our consciousness and look at the spiritual qualities, then we won't be there anymore. I don't know if I can explain.
Very well. Very well done. Yes. Yes. Very good.
Okay, but
Yeah, go ahead, Annie.
well then, in our San Francisco group, we come across the same invalid question again and again, and that is innocent victims. We've asked you about that, so I think
Yes.
young children, for instance, my niece who is going through a brain tumor, and now she has a tumor under her face. She's young, she's wonderful, her beautiful character, her family's wonderful. What does it mean?
You mean, why does she have that?
I'm not asking why.
No.
It just looks like she has that to me.
Yes.
Well, I don't want to call it mental garbage.
Yeah.
And how can I be a beneficial present to this
Yeah, this child.
phenomena when I know that we all have to go through our own crises to become aware and realize and grow. But how can I help her?
Yes.
Study metapsychiatry a little more.
Yes.
Ani, I think if you would really understand the difference between asking what is the meaning of this and why does she have this, if you would really clearly see the difference between those two questions, that would answer for you your subsequent questions about how to respond.
Yeah, you are really asking why does she have that, even though you are now smart enough to not say it. So, but that is an obstacle in resolving this question. But maybe study the issue of meaning, and it will become clearer, I think. Yes, and
I'm not quite sure I understand, or need an explanation or whatever, of prayer of beholding. You know, I don't really know what that is.
So the prayer of beholding is to seek to become aware of the presence of God beyond the senses. If we start praying or meditating, we start with reading something or looking at a picture, reading the Lord's Prayer or something like that. And that is verbal prayer. Now, from there we need to move on to become aware of the presence of God as a reality. And when that takes place, then we are beholding. That's what we call the prayer of beholding. That moves beyond the words that we are saying into an awareness. Is that correct?
I would add that it is a faculty which we all have, but it needs to be awakened within us to see spiritual qualities in everyone and in the world. And in proportion that we are able to discern the presence of spiritual quality in people and in the world around us, we are beholding the presence of God. And you can cultivate this faculty consciously.
And that is meditation.
Yes, meditation of the prayer of beholding.
Yes.
It might be helpful to contrast in terms of the specific situation that Ani presented, to contrast what would have been my old idea of intercessory prayer in a situation like this with the prayer of beholding. Now, intercessory prayer in a religious understanding would be that I would sit there and I would say, "Dear God, please help this poor child who is so terribly afflicted, and please help her parents, and please help me, and please heal it, please make it go away," whatever. Now, the prayer of beholding is to sit there and seek to see through this picture of affliction, which is only a picture of affliction, and to dissolve its substantiality, not by asking that this real thing be changed, but by seeking to bring my consciousness into the place where I can behold beyond the phenomenon light, intelligence, beauty, wholeness, spiritual reality. That seeking may come to the point of actual realization of that, but that is what the prayer of beholding is, rather than conventional kinds of prayer.
When we are beholding, when we're beholding, we're also simultaneously understanding the meaning.
Not necessarily.
It could come to us in that.
Happen, yeah, right.
It would be very favorable condition for a meaning to reveal itself.
That is a great difficulty in understanding how to discern meaning. And that will take a little time. But in principle, the way to discern meaning is by asking the two intelligent questions and refraining from answering them.
Aha!
It's not easy, right? But it's very important to learn that. Yes?
Is there a point of origin where man was not unenlightened? And when he was born enlightened and our culture was enlightened, is there a point of origin where that was true?
Yes.
And then what happened to make
Yeah.
it? Why would man choose to go through this journey of being hypnotized? I can't ask it any other way. What's the meaning?
The serpent did it.
Pepper?
The serpent did it.
The serpent.
The serpent beguiled Eve, and Eve beguiled Adam. And that's when the whole business started. Yeah?
Yeah, I
I'd
get
like
it.
to follow up. The lady brought this issue up about the difficulty of beholding in spiritual terms what apparently is a very grievous affliction.
Right.
Implied that there was a certain problem-solving process that she wanted to pursue. That is, so far you've spoken of trying to get your own vision of this situation oriented towards spiritual values. But going beyond this now, there's a problem of how do you be
What to do?
how do you that's right, what to do.
What to
how
do.
do you and I'd like very much to have you
You can't ask that question.
well no I think you know
He's very new.
I think in
Yeah.
the context of activities that metapsychiatry lays out in terms of being the womb of rebirth and things of this sort, as an aid to being receptive to a state of grace. If that's a valid approach, then it's certainly valid to ask, how do I approach this process of being a beneficent person or a beneficent presence?
Beneficial presence. Yes. Maybe N goes.
And answered.
I just discovered her book
Well,
last week. Well, I won't help.
as we grow in our understanding of these matters, we come to see more and more clearly that the most important thing that can be done is to clarify in consciousness what really is. Now, partly I think the trouble is that you see that's really the hardest thing, isn't it? It's much easier to, you know, we say, oh sure, we pray, but then what do I do? But the greatest contribution to any situation is the presence in that situation of one consciousness even, who clearly discerns reality there.
Divine reality.
Divine reality. Because as Jan has pointed out this morning, all of these troubles are troubles that belong to a mistaken view of reality. And there is really only one solution to a mistaken view of reality, and that's to see what really is, to see divine reality. And any individual who does that work or attains that receptivity, that it is clear in consciousness what really is, the doing will take care of itself. Because we have to do out of understanding and not out of our blindness. Roberta wanted to.
I wanted to cite an example of a tumor in our family. I called Dr. Hora maybe 4 weeks ago because our cat had a tumor. And I had taken her to the vet, and we knew it because she got very thin and she limped. And I took her to the vet, and the vet gave me a very, very dire diagnosis. And I immediately called Dr. Hora, and he pointed out that it does have meaning in my life. The cat is manifesting the burden that we share, the thought we share of something that is happening in our house. And it immediately became clear to me that the cat is not ill, the thought is manifesting itself. And if I recognize the thought, it didn't have to be there. And, well, immediately showed a lot of love for her and gave her a lot of baby food, but every time I saw her, she loved baby food. But whenever I saw her and became hypnotized, I realized, in fact, I even talked with her one day, and I said, Lord, thank you for manifesting that thought. Thank you for revealing it to me. I really am very happy that you did that. And I think I blew it slightly because I just say to my middle son, you know, Dr. Hora doesn't know. And then I said, oh gosh, and he looked at me, he wasn't really interested, and shut up. And he was saying, you know, she's getting better, she's getting fatter, she's eating, the limping has almost disappeared, and it really was almost instant. The moment I realized that this was a manifestation of an ignorant thought, it disappeared. And I'm very grateful.
Good veterinary medicine.
Sorry, you need to hold your question. So, all right, till this afternoon. We'll take a break now. We'll be back here at 1:30, precisely at 1:30. Thank you.